Welcome to the TV show, a show where we talk about TV. I'm your host, Jay Black, and each week I'm joined by Philadelphia radio legends Angelo, Cataldi, and Rhea Hughes to discuss the best shows, latest news, and biggest controversies in television. We're in a new golden age of TV, and we're here to talk about it. So, let's get to it. And welcome to the show, everybody. This is our first show. I'm very excited to have Angelo and Rhea here. And I got to be honest, guys, I'm very intimidated by this.
Yeah, you should be. We're legendary in our fields.
Very much so. And I feel like a dope. I should have done like a starter podcast with people who didn't know what they were doing, so that I could come in and like look like I at least had some skill at this. But no, I jumped right in with both feet with two people who are very, very good broadcasters. So thank you so much for joining me on this, guys. Seriously, it means a lot.
Thanks for having us.
Could you do the Carousel only Rhea shows?
Oh, stop.
Well, in all honesty, this is a labor of love for me because I'm trying to look for things I'm going to be doing when retirement hits in 3.5 months. And I love TV so much that this is perfect. This is exactly what the kind of thing I was looking for. I should point out before we go any further, neither Rhea nor I am making any money or any compensation from this. We're doing this out of love. Right, exactly. We're doing this because we love television and we love talking about it. And on the radio with a sports show, we don't get to do it all that much.
No, so go on. Sorry, Rhea.
No, I was just going to say I was shocked to find out you're retiring in 3.5 months.
Yeah, right. Shut up.
Well, yeah. So that's actually how we met. I do the TV segment on Fridays on the show that you guys do, and when I saw that you were retiring, I was like, "Hey, do you want to do a podcast?" And my wife said, "Jay, you should ask Angelo." And I kept going, "I don't want to bother him. I don't want to be the guy who bothers him." And she finally said, Angelo, she challenged my manhood. She was like, "What are you, a baby?" And I was like, "All right, fine." And when you responded positively, I was so happy. But on the other hand, I was also very upset because my wife she's an Italian woman from New Jersey and has not let me forget it. It's been 5 months now, and she still brings it up. So
I hope you understand that when you notified, you were interrupting me from watching TV. Pretty much, that's all I did.
Well, yeah.
He was afraid that he was going to bother you from doing what?
Exactly. Prepping for the show or watching TV. So that's my life.
Now I know, Angelo, that's your like TV is your favorite thing. Rhea, would you put that in your top 3 or 4 things, or is this?
No, it's actually the sports stuff. We know about. I love to read, and Angelo knows that I'm a voracious reader. My whole thing was always reading, but then the pandemic happened,
right? And
I had pretty much read everything I could possibly read. I have a specific genre, which we'll hear about later, which is detective, police, procedurals. So I just said, all these people are talking about all these shows on TV. And then I became a streaming nut.
Right.
And I've seen like everything. So TV was not always my first love. Books are.
Right. And, I'm going to be honest. I was an English major. I taught high school English for 7 years before I went on to be a comedian and, now a podcaster. I've said for years, if Shakespeare were alive today, he would be working in television. Because in all honesty, the plays that he wrote were modern entertainment for the masses. He wrote for everybody. And, if you were going to go anywhere right now, the place that has the most eyeballs and the most attention is, the golden age of TV, which is what we're in.
Right.
So,
but I need people to know from the beginning, they may not know your background. You have written a lot of Lifetime movies.
Sure. Yeah.
Those in no way are similar to Shakespeare. Shakespeare may be working, but he'd be working on Netflix or Hulu. He would not be working on Lifetime.
Well, Macbeth has a lot of, Hamlet has some ancestral stuff. Macbeth is murder,
we've gone there already. Okay, we're like 2 minutes in.
Please, no.
Yeah, no, nothing of what I do is, honestly, I feel like my college is probably going to, lie about me on the page. Like, he's a writer, but don't check too much into it.
No.
So yeah, I love television as well. As a kid, I used to say TV is my life, which is why my parents, were very disappointed in any kind of sports that I did. I kept wanting to get back and watch TV and movies. I'm a big movie guy as well. And that's all I cared about. And the fact that I can make somewhat of a living in it is just shocking to me. So the fact that we're all here talking about it means a lot. And we talked about this summer. Speaking of TV that really moved us, the show that I thought was the best of the summer, and I think you guys agree, is The Bear. So just hopping right into it, what did you guys think of that?
I got to tell you something. I watched it because you told me to. You said it on our show, on the sports show, and the first episode. Rhea, did you ever see anything more engrossing? It was so intense right from the beginning.
Here's the crazy thing is when Jay come on, I pretty much would always just kind of use that 5 minutes that Jay was on to check out my Twitter feed because I was not really a big TV person.
Rhea, you're not the first woman to check out the moment I start speaking. I know, in all honesty.
I understand that. So, but I also love to cook and I love to go to restaurants, and my brother was a chef and I was his dishwasher for 2 summers. So like a lot of people, I worked in a restaurant. But Jay, no lie, I thought it was a reality TV show.
Really?
That's what I thought you told me. And I'm watching the first 15. I'm blonde, therefore working at a disadvantage. I went, how did they get these? And then when it hit me, I binged I couldn't stop watching it.
Yeah.
It was so riveting, just the raw emotions. Oh. And I have a newfound respect for people who work in kitchens.
Right.
And as a customer, I should be nicer and better and not crazy.
If you guys are, if you haven't seen the show at home, it is the story of a fine dining chef, a guy who is a Beard Award winner, which I imagine is a big deal in the cooking world.
James Beard, yes.
James Beard. I'll be honest, when I hear that, I always think you shouldn't have a beard and work in the food industry because the hair everywhere. But he is a fine dining chef whose brother owns, I feel like it's like a Pat or Gino's type place, but
it's like a steak shop, but in Chicago.
Right. Yeah. But it's like a neighborhood staple. His brother owns it. He dies. And the fine dining chef inherits it. And it's about him coming back and sort of trying to put fine dining ideas onto this steak shop. And one of the things I really loved about it is it assumed that we were smart enough to figure out what was going on. Like there was no moment where he just said, hey guys, I'm a fine dining chef and this is how we're going to do it this moving forward. It was like everybody sort of was slowly adapting to what he was doing. And I think that sort of was the vibe of the whole show is you're going to have to catch up with us. Yeah. And it's never going to stop. So just follow along. Jump
Did you
in
start walking around your house going, yes, chef? When your wife is cooking, I would do it. My brother cooks a lot and I'd be like, yes, chef, got on it, chef. That's part of, people will get it when they watch it, that it becomes part of the lexicon of the show, which I loved.
All I want is to eat that sandwich.
Yes.
Oh my God, Ange, I want that sandwich so bad. I would tell people, if you're going to watch it, have a glass of wine or a beer and a cheesesteak, and you will just feel like you're right there.
It's such a great show. We should know the lead actor. I'm sorry. I'll figure this stuff out as we do this podcast over there. That guy is so good.
Yeah.
I have not seen him in anything before. He's phenomenal.
He's in something else that people all referenced.
He was in Shameless, right?
That's it. Shameless.
Yeah.
Shameless.
He's terrific.
Yes, Jeremy Allen White is his name, and the big thing that he was in prior to this was Shameless. Which actually, whenever I think of Shameless, I think of our dear departed colleague and friend Big Daddy Graham, because he was a huge Shameless fan, and he would always talk to me about that show. So,
but the characters in the show, the cousin, the girl
my favorite
who comes
character.
in, the cousin, I love him. He is so in your face. But the girl who comes in and is trying to organize it, I love her. The guy who's trying to perfect a donut. Yep. The amount of time that guy spends trying to perfect a donut is amazing.
I wanted to eat that donut too.
Yeah.
So did I.
Now, Rhea, actually, question about Jeremy Allen White, because my wife and my daughter...
Absolutely, totally handsome.
Really?
Oh,
okay.
yes.
There was a lot of debate.
Yeah, in not a normal kind of like George Clooney way.
Right.
The more you got to know him in the show, the more handsome he became to me.
Gotcha. Just his level of talent and commitment and that sort of thing.
His intensity. It was the intensity,
Yes.
you know, and the hair. I got to say the hair. I love the hair.
There's a lot of hair. If you haven't seen it, again, we go back to hair. Shouldn't he have a hairnet on? Is there that restaurant has a hair problem? I'm going to say 100%. But yeah, the cousin, I know he's a Chicago guy, but he did remind me of a lot of people I know in Philadelphia. There was a huge Philly energy to the cousin there. And in the first episode, he does this speech where, you know, he takes a gun and he walks out and there's all these nerds that are waiting to come in and play a video game. And the speech he gives about you incels is just, you know, again, we couldn't figure out, speaking of Jeremy Allen White, if he's good looking or not. Is this a comedy or with dramatic elements or a drama with comedic elements?
Drama, definitely.
I think drama. Yeah. Drama with comedic elements.
Comedy, unless it's a total commitment to comedy, I always think it's drama first. There are elements in it, right. Rhea said it. It's the intensity of this show that keeps you just dying to see what happens next.
Right.
It's as intense as any show I can remember. It's phenomenal.
And it's got a season 2 coming, right? So that's been confirmed.
And I will be hooked as soon as it's up.
Absolutely. All right, so that's The Bear. Check that out. And you know, it was not eligible for this year's Emmys, The Bear. Hopefully next year we're going to see it, but a lot of shows were. And we did a podcast yesterday to sort of just like figure out whether or not this would actually work, and we talked some about the Emmys. And Angelo, you said you were going to check it out. Did you get a chance to check out the Emmys?
I watched it all.
You did.
Somebody gives me an assignment to watch TV. I do. I'm going to tell you, all right? The thing, I called my wife in because early in the show, maybe about an hour in, and Rhea's a huge fan of Abbott Elementary.
Yes.
Oh, love it.
And Best Supporting Actress was Cheryl Lee Ralph. And I'm telling you, Jay, that was the single greatest acceptance speech I have seen in 50 years of watching award shows. That woman got up, she played it perfectly. Cheryl looks at it, she milks it for about a minute.
Right.
She's beautiful. She got like little diamonds or rhinestones or something in her hair.
Yeah, in her hair.
And then she looks out at the audience and she booms out this song in a phenomenal voice. Then she ends it, another pause. And then she does a quick thing on realizing your dreams.
Right.
I called my wife and I went, I want you to watch this. You're not going to believe how amazing this is. And it was sensational. And the other thing, the thing that frustrated me the most, also from Abbott Elementary, a Philadelphia show, Quinta Brunson, who's the creator, she wins a big award. And they're doing a stupid comedy bit with Jimmy Kimmel. On the floor.
Ruined her moment.
Totally.
Big time.
If you're a comedian, Jay, if you're going to do that, it better be brilliant. And it was stupid.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Kimmel, shame on him. Shame on Will Arnett for trying to pull that off. It was hideous, and it was insulting and disrespectful to Quinta Brunson because that show got a lot of great honors and they deserve them. But Rhea, wasn't that the best moment? Shirley Ralph, and the worst moment when Jimmy Kimmel did that.
And she was she's trying to, you know, this is her moment.
Right.
I mean, she created something that's spectacular and they're just trying to take away from it. The one thing I want to say about Charlotte Ralph, isn't she married to like a Pennsylvania state senator or something I feel like she's got a local connection to Philadelphia. I could be wrong, but I'll have to look that up. But I'm on my phone. So Jay, you'll have to look that up. But I think she's amazing.
Wow, that was awesome.
Just just speaking back to the Jimmy Kimmel thing too. You know, if you remember a couple of years ago, there was the Oscars So White campaign, and a lot of discussion in these award shows about diversity. And you have a young black woman winning an award for writing, and two middle-aged white guys interrupting
ruining it.
I mean, did anybody at any level stop and go, "Hey guys, maybe we should let this sit"? Just let it simmer.
This is the problem. Everybody wants to see everything racial, right? No one knew who was going to win, though, Jay. Right now, they had that.
So that bit was going to happen regardless.
Right.
That bit was going to be stupid, regardless of who did it, and it was going to insult whoever went up there.
Sure.
The whole concept was ill-advised.
Right.
It just shouldn't be done. You want to do bits, but not in the context of somebody receiving a major award.
Absolutely. Absolutely agreed. Yep. No, and award shows, somebody actually pointed this out. They said, would award shows be better if just one time they tried no bits, no comedy, no music, just here are the awards. It's an hour-long show. They give the award, they get up, they give a speech, they give the next award and move on. Would you watch that?
Did you see the first 5 minutes of it when they're doing dances to all the TV themes?
Right, yeah.
How lame was that?
It's insane. It's stupid.
Stupid. And most of it is a waste of time. They even, you know what my favorite thing is? I'm going to tell you my favorite thing about award shows. In memoriam.
Oh, right,
I'm always stunned at all the people that passed away in that year. And now even that, they got John Legend and they got all these screens around him. Just show us the person. I don't have to see John Legend sing for 3 minutes. Show me the person that passed away so I can remember what I saw them in and feel bad that they're gone.
I love it. It's the old guy really just wants to read an obituary during the Emmys.
Well, Rhea, you know me.
Yes, I do.
I don't know if you guys.
The older you get, the more you look for that stuff.
Real fast, you are correct about the Cheryl Lee Ralph's husband. His name is Vincent Hughes. He's a senator.
From Pennsylvania, right?
Pennsylvania.
Probably a relative of yours.
I don't think we're related. But good name.
Yeah. But yeah, so the Emmys itself, by the way, your in memoriam thing, did you see that there were reports that people said that the Queen was snubbed by not being in the in memoriam?
This Queen thing, please. Jay, please. I know Rhea's our British correspondent.
Right.
Enough with the Queen. They wanted to get the Queen into the Emmys now?
Yeah, they were mad.
What did she do with TV? What did she do?
Well, I guess she was on TV
for the past week. I don't care about the Queen.
Yeah.
Most guys, most American guys don't really care what happens in Britain. Rhea lived there, so she has a connection. We don't care. Let it go.
Yeah, you know, they've been trying to make soccer happen in America for 60 years, and you can barely get American men excited about like football in England, let alone a 79-year-old. How old is she? Like 96?
She was 96.
96-year-old woman who was queen for 70 years. No one cares. I mean,
no one cares.
And I'll just tell you, nobody really does care about the Queen. It's all about the drama going on with her grandkids. They know that the whole gossip thing, are into it. And it's like, all right, we're going to show her casket, but let's get back to the two boys who can't stand each other, because we know how the world felt about Princess Diana. And that's all it is.
Right.
They know they're tapping into that. It has nothing to do with the Queen.
I have a confession though about this whole deal.
Yeah.
Because Prince Charles, who's now King Charles, it is fascinating. I guess I can say this on a podcast. He apparently is a dick.
Yes.
And you're starting to find out now all the things he requires his servants to do. And that he was signing something and he acted like, and I'm going, wow, now we're going to find out this guy's a jerk.
And would you like to know the list of things when he goes to visit a friend's house?
Yeah.
He brings his bed, toilet seat, I'm not lying.
His own toilet seat?
He brings his bed and his own toilet seat. Yes.
His own they have to remove the other toilet seat, put his on?
I am chock full of very useless information about the royalty. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, we got a good British correspondent with us.
Well, I think that is a very good segue into Rhea's segment. Each week, Rhea Hughes is going to tell us about a TV show from England that she watches. Now, do you watch this on BBC America? Is it? I mean, what's your?
Well, I do. It's
stream?
You can actually get it on a couple. You can get the show I watch, but you can get all the British shows on Prime and actually Netflix. You can download PBS, but there's a section of it on Prime called Acorn or BritBox. So BritBox, and I've also just signed up for PBS. PBS does some amazing shows, but the show I watch that I fell in love with, just to let everybody know, I am a police procedural person. I love detective shows. My dad's a retired inspector. It's probably where I got it from. But this show is called Manhunt, not to be confused with Manhunter, which is an American show, which I believe dealt with the beginning of profiling in the FBI. Totally different.
Good show, by the way. I like that show a lot on Netflix.
Very good, and because it's like 60s or 70s, so it's kind of,
it's in the 70s, and David Fincher was involved, and I'm a huge fan of his, so it's good.
But this is totally separate, called Manhunt. 2019, 2020, I believe, 2 seasons. It's I really like true crime drama dramatized. I don't like documentaries.
Right.
So this is a true crime. DCI Colin Sutton, based off of cases he did. First season, and what's cool about British shows, you get like 4 episodes, but sometimes they're like over an hour.
Right.
So it's not like 20 minutes. First season deals with a serial killer thing that he does. And as I mentioned to you, Jay, Angelo and I hate analytics in sports. We are not analytics people. But the use of analytics in crime investigation, to me, is fascinating, how critical it is. And in the first season, they deal with a serial killer killing women, blonde women. I don't know why I watched it. The guy was only interested in killing blondes. But how they just, I won't give anything away from the first season, but they managed to whittle down 25,000 vans of the same type to 1. It's fascinating. But what I will tell you, it's a little slow to start.
Right.
Get to season 2. I have rewatched season 2 4 times.
Wow.
This is of a crime that most of England, most of London believed would never be solved. It was a decade-long serial rapist in a condensed area in London, and they couldn't catch him. And what they do, the net they throw around the city to catch this guy, I was literally on my seat watching it. So it stars Martin Clunes. People may know him from Doc Martin, a comedy drama show, long running in England, and it's phenomenal if you love police procedurals like I do.
So one of the things you said is wait till the second season. What I love about British TV is you can say wait to the second season, and it's not like you got to sit through 23 episodes of a show. No. It's like 4 episodes, 6 episodes, 4 episodes, and they're doing that in America now, thanks to like Netflix and everything else. I dig that kind of way of doing it. Like, just make it as long as it needs to be. Don't like artificially fit it into 26 episodes.
They kind of started that with Sherlock. Those episodes, the British version was like an hour and a half. I mean, those episodes were really long, but there'd be like 3 episodes in a season.
Right.
So I like how they do that, because you get more and you're involved in it more. But if you like police procedurals, this is my favorite British one.
And Jay, just want to get in here 1 second. I don't know a lot about all this stuff, but as we progress with this podcast, Rhea has told us that she will attempt the British segment with a British accent.
Oh, really?
She lived there for a year in London, and she has a lot of interest in it, and I think she can work on that. I think it's part of, now that people could see us a little more. You could do that, Rhea.
Yeah.
I did in so I just let everybody know, Temple has a London program. So that's one of the reasons I went to it was like 30 years old when I went there. So I spent the second half of my junior year there. Then I backpacked through Europe, which was amazing and a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
And I don't come from a lot of money. I worked my ass off from the time I was 13 because I knew that's what I wanted to do, and obviously help from my parents. But it was to live there. I've been back. It's one of my most favorite places in the entire world.
And my wife did something similar with Ireland, and I talk about it in my act because of how many Irish guys that she met. And I said, the joke I always say in my act is, were you with a lot of Irish guys? And her answer was, "Don't worry about it," which was not very unsettling to me. I got to be honest.
It should be. It should be.
So
I'm glad that you just told the entire audience that your wife got around a little bit with the Irish people.
Hey, listen, I tamed her. That's what I did. I got her and I said, listen, you can't be with other men now. Question, Rhea, and this is a little bit in my own area of expertise, because I write stories about women being murdered as well.
Oh my God. I just let everybody know, I've watched a couple of scenes of Jay's new movie.
Yeah.
And the first thing I wrote to him is, that guy's psycho and hot. And I liked it.
So, okay. Well, that's my question then, is because, and Angela, I don't know if I told you this when we were talking about this, when you write a Lifetime movie, one of the things they tell you is the bad guy has to be hot, because that's the data. Women like hot killers. They like bad boys because they think they can fix them, which I thought was an old wives' tale, but apparently there's like actual data at Lifetime that makes this true. Do they do the same thing in
No, that's the one thing I let me warn people about British shows. This is not like CSI where they find there's a scene in 2.5 Men where Alan's fiance is really hot and she gets hired to be in a CSI,
right?
And she's bending over and her boobs are popping out, and it's like so funny because that's all they want in America.
Right.
In England, they don't worry about looks. I will tell you, all of the police, the bad guy, they just look like regular people. That's kind of what's interesting about British shows is you're not, they have women who are stars over there who are like in their 60s, Helen Mirren,
right,
in their 60s in these roles, and it's wrinkles and all and warts and all and the killers. I mean, sometimes they're good looking
right,
just because that's what the role calls for, but not all the time.
And I'll say this: the accent adds like a point and a half. If you're like at
I
a
mean,
6,
a hint.
Yeah.
Watch it with closed captioning on.
Gotcha.
Until you pick your ear picks up. Your ear will pick it up after a couple of episodes, but watch it with closed captioning.
Okay, well, actually, the closed captioning, that brings up a good point because I watch every show with closed captioning because my wife is a teacher of the deaf and she grew up in a deaf household. And I wanted to tell a quick story about my wife because we have a show that we're going to talk about. And in that show, I watched this show last season when it came out. And I told my wife, I've watched the first episode of a show called Only Murders in This Building. Yep. And I called my wife and I said, honey, I watched the first episode. I think this is a perfect show for us to watch together because we don't have a lot. We don't have a lot of overlap. So she said, okay, fine. And I called her a couple times. I saw her. I said, did you watch it yet? She hasn't watched it. Did you watch it yet? I hasn't watched it. So like a week and a half, I just watched the rest of the series. And I say to her, listen, if your brother or friends had suggested this, I know you would have watched it. Yes. I'm not lying. 2 weeks ago, when the second season came out, we were driving together, and my wife goes, hey, there's a show that my brother mentioned to me, and then my friends mentioned it to me, and I'm like, I got to watch this, and maybe we could watch it together. I wasn't mad about the Irish. I'm going to divorce her over this. This is a divorceable offense. Yes. It was 100% predicted. But I'm at least glad she's watching it. I know that you're a fan, Rhea. Angelo, you're not a fan of this show, Martin.
I was until the episode with no dialogue.
Yeah.
What didn't you like about that?
The seventh one in there, and I was watching with my wife, and we both checked out almost simultaneously during that episode. Because why are you using a gimmick when you have a good show? And I love Selena Gomez is terrific in that.
Phenomenal.
She is. Yeah.
Martin is great. I have a connection to Martin Short.
Yep.
He was on our show once, Jay, and then he invited me to be a guest when he appeared at the Music Box in Borgata.
Really?
Little did I know, he was recruiting me to be part of his act, and he called me up onto stage. Right. And he leaves and he comes back as that guy, Jiminy. What's it?
Jiminy Glick.
Oh, yes.
Glick. And I'm the guy he's interviewing. And then in the course of the interview, he comes across. I'm on a chair. He's on a chair. And he sits on my lap. Now he's like giving me a lap dance. And all these people who went there because we endorsed, I was so embarrassed, but laughing my ass off. He's a phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Performer.
Yeah.
Steve Martin is a legend. Selena Gomez, I never knew she was that good.
Yeah.
And they ruined it for me with the episode with no dialogue. I couldn't stand it. And I try to go back. We both try to go back, and we went, we're out. It's over.
Yeah. Sometimes that's all it takes. Sometimes it's just like, yeah. I was watching a show called For All Mankind. I don't know if you know that show. It's on Apple TV. It's about what if the United States had continued the space race, and after 1969. So we have moon bases and stuff like that. It's like an alternate history show, and it's really good. Except, and guys, I'm going to spoilers. Does anybody care about one aspect of this?
No.
Spoilers for second season. The main character's wife, they have a kid in the first season who dies. The main character's wife sleeps with the best friend, the grown-up best friend of the kid who died. right?
I'm out.
100%.
No,
It's a
I'm
great
out.
show. Otherwise, I cartwheeled out. I was like, done.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got to that point, and I looked at my wife, and I was like, there's no recovering from this. There's no reason to continue. Turned it off, never watched it again. And I hear the third season's really good, but I can't go back to watching that lady. That's just too weird.
No.
So I understand where you come from, Angela. There's sometimes a show will
Well,
make a
take-
wrong step and go there. But Rhea, you love the show, and you have some overlap on this, right?
Yeah. So you guys had asked me to also, now that I now have a teenager, my son Clark just turned 13, said shows that you can watch, with your teenager. So last year I was, when Only Murders in the Building debuted, my kitchen and sunroom were being renovated. And that's where I watch TV out here. It's where I watch all the games. Clark watches his TV shows in the living room. So I had to go in there, and I was waiting for the show to debut. He's sitting in there, but he's got headphones on. So I don't realize that he's watching the show with me. I watched the first show. I'm totally into it.
Right.
Halfway through the second show, I put it on pause to come in and, grab something to drink. And he goes, "Who do you think?" And I go, "Are you watching?" He goes, "I've been watching since the first one, but I wasn't sure you were going to let me watch it." And listen, this kid's seen Deadpool. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's very little violence in the beginning, where a guy gets shot and killed. That's the Murder in the Building. I'm not giving anything away. There is some strong language, but not a lot. It became our Tuesday night tradition.
That's
popcorn, great. Ice cream. We would set a time. It's like, okay, 7:30, we're watching. We'd sit there, and we loved it. It came out again this year. We watched everything. And it's just, what I loved about it was, because we watched that together, we got done. He goes, "All right, what's our next show?"
Oh, that's beautiful. That's
so
beautiful.
we now have a connection where, and it's not that I love it. We did watch Hawkeye, which is one of the Marvel things I did really like.
I enjoyed that a lot.
We're on She-Hulk now. I'll give a review of that next week, but it's interesting.
It's an interesting show. I don't think Angelo's kind of show, in all honesty.
No.
Yeah. I liked Hawkeye a lot, though. That had a very 1980s kind of action movie vibe to it.
Excellent.
What's interesting, my son and I will watch everything, like literally anything I'm watching. He'll come in and go, "Okay, what's this?" He's the Angelo of this house. If there's something on TV, he's watching it. My two daughters, they watch YouTube, nothing but YouTube. And my 7-year-old watches these YouTube families. Have you seen these things where it's like,
my son watches them?
Listen, I know that my parents probably felt the same way when they were like, "What's with this Alf that you're watching?" I'm watching these things. If I want to connect with them, I have to connect by watching these parents take their kids. And I think all of them will be sued one day by their children for stealing their childhood. But I'm looking for something that my daughter and I, my 11-year-old at least, can watch together. So maybe this is the one that it'll do it. 11-year-old, maybe.
It's just, yeah. I mean, like I said, she's probably seen shows with violence. At 11, I might have thought was too young, but he was just turned 12, and like I said, he's seen Deadpool. So right. I mean, Deadpool was not his mother's choice that he saw Deadpool, but he'd already seen it. So I figured, it was minor.
All right. Well, let's speak. I keep saying, speaking of, my transitions. When young comics first start doing stand up, they worry so much about transitions. Yeah. And it's like you can always tell where it's like, well, speaking of groceries, let's talk. And you go, you don't have to do that. Just switch. So I made a recommendation on the show last week to Angelo, and he's shaking his head. I said, you got to watch this. And then Joe Wechter, our friend Joe Wechter, popped in and said, "No, I agree with Jay. You got to watch this." Yeah. And Angelo, did you watch Cobra Kai on Netflix?
I did it. First of all, I should have known when Joe Wechter, he's our producer at the show, and he's different. And I have almost no connection with him in terms of what we like.
Right.
So I did. I watched 3 episodes yesterday because you forced me to.
Right.
And I'm telling you, here's what I was thinking. I saw the original movie, Karate Kid, and I knew then it was a stupid movie. Machio can't act. He is an awful actor. So I'm saying to myself, well, it's been like 35 years. He probably learned how to act.
Yeah.
He's probably going to be much better now that he's a highly successful car dealer. And the kid that was bullying him is now, he's kind of in a secondary position.
Right.
It stinks. All right. And you people who have recommended it are nuts. Because, first of all, Ralph Macchio is still the stiffest actor I've ever seen. Yeah. Jay, he's not good.
Yeah.
How is he good?
I'm going to agree with you. He's not a good actor.
So corny.
Yeah.
And they even had to, you know what I love? Because in the original movie, Ralph Macchio, the character LaRusso,
Yeah.
he wins on a totally illegal kick to the face
Yep.
of the kid. All
Yep.
right. And they have to figure out how to correct that when they're doing the TV show based on the movie.
Right.
So the bully kid's going, by the way, that was an illegal kick.
Right.
They're announcing that the whole movie was based
It's
on a
bogus
premise.
Right.
It was a faulty premise. Now, I watched 3 episodes because I wanted to give it a full shot.
Sure.
I will never watch another.
You didn't laugh at all.
Stupid. It's stupid. I almost get into this podcast today. I started to question your judgment in TV shows. It's awful.
It is hilarious.
Don't watch it. It's not funny. It's dumb.
It is hilarious, especially
sounds like our show.
The discussions between
awful.
Johnny and the way we did things in the 80s versus the way we do things now, I think is hilarious.
I have a confession to make. Never saw the movie Karate Kid.
Really?
You made a good decision.
Thank you.
Well, I will say you're correct. Ralph Macchio, for as likable a guy as he is a terrible actor. I thought the guy who played Johnny, William Zabka, he got some acting lessons. He was good.
He's okay.
Yeah.
He's better.
Yeah.
I kept wanting to see his father, who is a real jerk, right?
Right.
In the movie. I haven't seen him. I'm
Right.
never going to see him because I'm not watching another minute of it.
Well, season 5 is on now, and if you've stuck with it like I have and watched every single episode, season 5 is well worth your time.
I'm not coming back. This is my only appearance. Terrible.
I think it's hilarious. I do think that Ralph Macchio's eyebrows, they need to do something. Special effects need to come in. His eyebrows are weird, right, Angelo?
Yeah. And so is the rest of them. He's as from one awkward guy to another.
Yes.
He could not be a main character in any show.
It
just doesn't work. He's awkward.
Yeah, there's a reason why he never did anything other than the Karate Kid and My Cousin Vinny. He was good in My Cousin Vinny.
He was excellent in My Cousin Vinny.
That's right.
She loves My Cousin Vinny.
I do.
I will say.
How you blend.
Marissa Tomei did a lot to establish what I was going to like going forward with women. That's a very attractive woman in that movie. All right, so movies that or TV shows you didn't like was Karate Kid and Cobra Kai, but we do have a recommendation from you, Angelo. And
Jay, this show, 6 episodes in, they're not giving you all of them at once. It's not just that I love the show; it's changing my life.
Really?
You understand? It's having an impact on my life at 71. Who is a sports person, and it's called Welcome to Wrexham, and it is the story of how Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia purchased a down and out soccer team in this community of Wrexham, a little town in Wales.
In Wales. Yeah.
Yep.
And Rhea, speaking of British television, it is the Eagles story. Rob McElhenney bought it because he's a huge Eagles fan.
Yep.
And I don't even think when he bought it that he understood how similar the fan base is to this soccer team and the fan base for the Eagles. If you want to do a great thing, see on Amazon, maybe next year, it's the story of the Eagle fan base when they won the Super Bowl. And then watch this and see how in both cases, the fan bases live and breathe their team. Yeah. And that's what makes it so great. Rhea she checked out after one episode.
I did.
Yeah. And here's why, Rhea, because I'm going to force you to go back to it. You're going to love it. Because the first episode just kind of sets the scene and it's soccer and all that. Then you start to see the characters in this town.
Okay.
I'll just give one example. They prop a guy up who's 96 years old. Right? Same age as
the Queen.
He's still alive. And they prop this guy, and he's talking about soccer matches from 70 and 80 years ago. It's in his DNA. And these people, their team stinks. And these people live and die them. And the 2 Hollywood guys come in, and they start buying free agents. and buying the top level coaches, even though they're like fifth level, they have to go up a long way to be good again.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I'm going. You know what I'm going to do, Jay? This is how it's changing my life. My grandkids love soccer. They play it.
Right.
And they keep wanting me to go to a Union game. And they're trying to tell me that the atmosphere is reminiscent a little bit.
It's a good vibe. It is a good vibe.
You know what? I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Because of this show. And it made me watch. I'm binging now. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Great.
A weird show. But
great show.
And Ryan Reynolds, you know, I finally have more interest in his career.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Ryan Reynolds.
You know, Rhea, please go back.
I did. I watched the first episode. Yeah.
Jay, it's Welcome to Wrexham. Have you watched it, Jay?
I've watched the first 3 episodes. I'm not on.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is fantastic.
It's getting better and better, and they have to keep sinking more and more money into it.
Yep.
Well, people don't know what to make of this Hollywood guy. It's phenomenal. You would love it. I guarantee you would love it.
There's a
check it out.
There's a built-in beauty to the way that works there with the promotion and relegation. And the way I always explain it to people is like with baseball, if you could imagine a single A team, if it got really good within 4 years, could be in the major leagues. And
that's crazy.
Right. If they spent the money and they did that, and that element to it, the fact that they're not just winning the low end championship, like who cares? They're building towards getting into the upper levels of professional football. That's what kind of the stakes are a lot higher than you would think in something like this.
Fabulous. I mean, we're sports people. I could tell you, you will relate to this if you love sports and you love television. You will relate to this show.
Yeah,
the way I am.
It's a well-made doc.
It's great, Jay. You'll love it. Watch it with your wife. Maybe you'll bond.
I don't want her to see.
She loves the accent.
I don't want her to see guys that she might have known. You know, she goes like, "Oh yeah, there's Billy O'Hanahan."
Had him, need him.
Oh my God.
Well, you know, Angelo, when we talked about this, you challenged to end on a joke for me.
Well, let me explain. Jay, I have seen Jay Black perform on stage as a stand-up.
Right.
And although this podcast shows very little evidence of it, it's a very funny man. All right. And I said, we have a professional comedian and TV writer. We should end big by having him tell us a great joke. So, Jay, I think that's the right way to end the podcast.
Well, so I was just going to do a street joke. You know,
if you want,
but
we know it'll be hilarious.
I'm going to do the full version of my joke about my wife.
Right,
I think that because that comes out. So I say in my act, I go,
this is going to go well with your wife.
Yeah, I hope she watches all this podcast.
I'm going to tell you something right now. There is 0% chance that she listens to this podcast. I guarantee you she will do the thing where she listens to the first 8 minutes and then she'll make a comment about something that happened in the first 8 minutes. She'll go, "Oh, I really liked when you guys were talking about the bear." And I'll go, "What about the Emmy discussion?" And she'll be like, "Yeah, no, that was good too." Because she will have no idea. So, no, this is story. I said to my wife, when you were in Ireland, were you with a lot of guys? And her answer was, "Don't worry about it," which is not a very good answer because women have a particular kind of math, Rhea, when it comes to hooking up, right? If she says 2, probably means 5. She says 5.
You double it.
Yeah, probably means 10. She says, "Don't worry about it," means they're singing folk songs about her in Ireland as we speak. There is a statue of her in Dublin that boys touch for good luck when they turn 13. And that is from my act. See that?
Wow, we may
You're
not
living dangerously.
Yeah. But maybe you're going to be getting lawyer papers later today, Jay. This might be a one and done.
Well, you know what? I have full custody of the podcast. That's all I'm going to ask for. She can have the kids. I just want the.
You ain't going to make any money with this, Jay.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us on the first podcast. We said between 30 and 60 minutes. Look, we're right at like 45 exact. We hit the mark.
Look at that.
And without getting emotional, thank you so much for doing this with me. It means a lot. And I can't wait for people to hear this. So
it was fun. And I'm ready to do it whenever you need us to. I love doing it. It was fun.
All right. Well, guys,
thank you, Jay.
Thank you. We'll be here every Thursday. So we'll be dropping at midnight tonight. And I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of The TV Show. If you did, please like, subscribe, and review us on iTunes. It'll help people find the show. Also, please follow me on Twitter at @JBlackIsFunny. You can send me suggestions and comments about the show there, even mean ones. I'm an any attention is good attention kind of guy. We'll see you next week with another episode.